When did you start Ushahidi?
So Ushahidi was started a year ago in the midst of the post-election violence in Kenya. We developed a tool basically that anybody could SMS in a message of what was happening around them, and we would plot it on a map with a location and with a timeline of what was going on. So you could take a look at the whole country and see what was happening all over them.
Where did the Ushahidi start? In some place in special?
Well, we were all from Kenya. So there was post-election violence happening in Kenya, and so we created it for Kenya, and then it was only this last summer, so in August of 2008, that we rebuilt the platform. So we initially created it just over 2 days in Kenya in January of 2008, and then in August we started to rebuild it to be a free and open source platform that anybody could use anywhere in the world. So whether you're in Latin America, or you're in Africa, or you're in the US, or Europe, if there's some reason that you want to track and plot information coming in from ordinary citizens, you can use this Ushahidi tool. You can throw it up on your own server, or you can use our server to set up an instance of it and start tracking information in real time.
And it's only for information, to say what is happening in this moment, in this situation, crisis situation.
Well, that's what we use it for. So it's being used primarily in crisis, disaster, emergency type of scenarios. For instance, it's been used in the Democratic Republic of the Congo now. It's also been used by Al Jazeera in Gaza. So it's a number of areas around the world that are starting to pick it up and use it. Now, the tool is only in its alpha form right now, so that means there's still some features that are missing and some bugs in the code. We're working towards our beta, which will be maybe late March, beginning of April, is what we're aiming for, which with a much more refined product that people can use even if they don't have much technology skills themselves. So you can still use it. If you know how to use a blog, you can use Ushahidi.
And how do you think we can use in Latin America Ushahidi? Have you some experience there?
Well, no, we don't. But we don't deploy it. So somebody in South America will take the tool and use it however they think that needs to be used. A good example of this is there's some students at MIT who come from Brazil. They're going to deploy Ushahidi in favelas now. I don't know how to say that word. Favela?
Favela, yeah.
Yeah, okay. To track violence. Okay? Something that I don't know very much about. I have no context with Brazil, right? But they do. And they can use our tool and they can customize it for their needs. And they can use, again, just a simple ideology that we started with, that if you can get simple mobile phone text messaging, SMS messages in, with location and what's happened, then you have something of value that you can leverage to make to help others make better decisions and to get help to the people who need it on the ground as well. So there's a bunch of different ways it can be used depending upon the need.
For example, in Peru we have a lot of disasters. We have earthquakes.
Right. It's exactly the kind of place you would want to use it. So in Peru, my suggestion would be for some group there to say, hey, we have a lot of earthquakes here. Let's set up an instance of Ushahidi here so that anybody knows, and we tell everybody what the phone number is in advance, so that when an earthquake does happen, people know where to send a message already, and start spreading the word beforehand, so that when something actually does happen, everybody knows where to send that information to, and then people can start gathering that information and doing something about it immediately. Because this is one of the things we found out, is that a lot of times what people want to rely on the big organizations, media or government, to deal with something. But the problem is the big media and the government don't know what's happening on the ground. The ordinary people do. So the power behind Ushahidi is not the technology. The power behind it is the idea that normal, ordinary people can help by just sending information in and giving everybody a better understanding and more transparency of what's happening on the ground. We usually talk about it as opening a window to this world that's never been seen before. And that's what this just one simple text message from somebody well off in a rural area can do.
So if, for example, there is an earthquake and people start to send this message, through Ushahidi.
Mm-hmm.
And is it possible to find some people that is covered with some wall, or is it possible to rescue some people using this one?
Well, it depends on who's deploying it, right? So if the people who are taking and putting Ushahidi in Peru, and they have good connections with the rescue outfits, they can start pinpointing, okay, this person is in need, this person can help, let's make sure something happens. And that's up to the people on the ground to make sure it happens, to make that connection, connecting the dots between the people who can help and the people who need help.
And what do the people need to go into Ushahidi? Only
if you want to run it, if you want to run it on your own server in Peru, you would just go grab the code for Ushahidi from our code repository, which is free. You just go and sign up for it and grab it, and put it on your own server, activate it, and that's it. It's live.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.